Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be looking at Ward 5. In Ward 5, there are two running for this seat. Brad Estes, the incumbent, and challenger Cassie Andrews. Unfortunately, candidate Cassie Andrews could not be with us tonight. Alderman Brad Estes has taken his place at the podium. And Brad, you may begin with your opening statement.
Thank you, Dale, and thank you everyone for having this opportunity tonight. First thing I'd like to do is introduce my wife, Deb. Please stand. Deb and I have 4 kids, 2 grandkids. One of the 4 kids lives here in Rapid Ian. He has a little bike shop over on Omaha Street. And he grew up learning the bike shop business from the Curse family. That means a lot to me. So anyway, I grew up in Wall, South Dakota, and I grew up in a time and a place where promise of a free ice water and a nickel cup of coffee drove one of the coolest business profiles and economies in this town. And during that time, I was raised in a motel office until I was 13 years old. I learned hospitality 101 from my mom. And the construction business from my dad. I used to watch him go out in the mornings and, with his Jeep trencher, and he started out putting water lines in. His slogan was, we dig dirt cheap. But from that, I learned a lot of valuable lessons, and I learned how to take a bare piece of land and a clean sheet of paper, dream, and create things. And I didn't do it all on my own. I did it with a lot of help and stuff. But through the dedication and work of my family, it afforded my parents, it afforded me and my brother and sister the opportunity and provided them to give us many priceless gifts. And one of them was, Christian family values. Another one was the great South Dakota work ethic. And during that entire time, they ingrained in us that no matter what government does either to you or for you, it's worth your money.
Okay, thank you. Our first question for Brad tonight is simply, what is the basis of your moral compass, and how will that influence what you decide is best for Rapid City?
Thank you. Well, as a Christian, I do start and end each day in prayer. But I have to take you back. If I make it to July 1 of this year, I will have been sober for 20. For a long time. And I didn't, and before that happened, I was not capable of having relationships with God or with humans. I didn't have relationships. I took hostages. But from June 30th of 1987 to today, I've had a lot of help. And, I got here through help from a lot of others. I got here from practicing meditation, thank you, from prayer, and from God. And I was born with a very dangerous option. I have an ego, It's very important for me to keep my prayers simple. In the morning, I generally ask for God's will and not mine to be done. I've been down the road of praying for outcomes, and it hasn't worked very well for me. Deciding outcomes is God's work, not mine. I've experienced the rewards of God's grace when I've asked His help in guiding me. I've experienced the rewards of God's grace when I exercise acceptance. That nothing happens in God's world by mistake. And I've experienced the rewards of God's grace when I stop and take the time to be grateful for what I have. I believe that gratitude is a very powerful tool. It turns negative energy into positive energy, and it can take whatever we have now into enough and more. Thank you. And I hope that basis helps me, gives me a stand. If I do those things and I don't take I guess is all I'm trying to say is I think I stand a chance of doing the next right thing if I'm able to follow those rules. Not only for myself, but for others.
Thank you, Brad. Brad, your final question is, what 3 city issues are most important to you, and how do you propose to deal with them?
Well, I am passionate about a lot of things, and I was not able to narrow it down to 3 tonight for you. But obviously, infrastructure is a huge issue in this town, and the money that we get now for infrastructure is derived from the CIP. One of the things you need to know, though, as you come in as a council person, the money that we have in the CIP is already allocated in a 5-year window, and for sure when you come in, the first 2 years are used up because you've already, the projects are for sure committed, and the design fees, and you're well on your way. We need more money. Right now, the money we have for CIP, we're expecting our roads to live for about 120 years, which isn't going to work. But one of the things I've learned though is that you may have a road that needs to be replaced, but the water and sewer, the utilities underneath it might have 5 to 10 years more life, and that really puts you in a predicament is the timing. Another thing we have to figure out before we can redirect any vision money is figure out what we're going to do at the Civic Center. I can tell you I got spit out the backside of this deal a heck of a lot smarter than I went in, and the people have spoken, and we need to go back to work. So we've got that. We need to set our bar higher on jobs. I can't do that alone. We have to do that as a community. We have to work on that together. But I think that one of the most important things is whatever's important to the constituent that I'm talking to. I can go to a meeting and be talking about a $180 million civic center, or I'm on the airport board or something, but an hour later, I could be talking to a constituent about a lilac bush in his neighbor's yard that's really aggravating him, and that's important to him. And so this job brings many things. Thank you.
Thank you. And Brad, any closing thoughts, please?
Well, I love this job. I asked for it 2 years ago, and I was fortunate that people of Ward 5 trusted me with it. And I hope that the people of Ward 5 choose on June 2nd to hire me back for another 2 years. Thank you. Thanks again for having us.
Let's